So let's go straight to my passive skill tree, and I'm going to show this character in action at the end of the video. So let's get started. I went for the life and armor in the beginning on the Marauder, and I went for life regeneration, more life regeneration in Warrior's Blood, Heart of the Warrior. I have armor mastery for armor, movement speed and life regeneration. I have Yule Socket here, increase my fire damage and my maximum life. I have Juggernaut. I have Unbreaking Stance, so I can't get stunned. And I have Bloodless. Moving on. I have Barbarism, which increases my maximum fire resistance, which are really important. I have Ascendancy for the life regeneration and fire damage. I have Tinkless for the life. I have Combat Stamina to increase my life regeneration, life and armor. I have another Yule Socket, this one with damage over time and life. And all of you saw Yule Sockets and Yules, trying to get, you need to have life on all of them. And if you can, both fire damage and damage over time if you can. And even increased damage will work. I have the big life wheel here. I have Shaper. And I have another Yule Socket here. Increase my damage over time and life. And I have Elemental Equilibrium, which I use to weaken enemies' resistance. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this one when I come to my skill. But this one is really important. I have Sentry, and again, life regeneration, some strength, and a good amount of armor. And I have mana and life regeneration nodes here, but I'm mostly using them for the life regeneration. And I have mana and life. I have Discipline and Training. I have Retribution, which actually not give me that much. Actually, yeah, the only thing I getting in this one are actually the strength and the intelligence that actually matters, but it is the shortest way to take. And I have Amplify to increase my area of effect and area damage. I have Quick Recovery, and by the way, in the new update, I'm going to go for Mind Over Matter and all of these nice nodes here. I have Elemental Overload, and I'm also going to talk about this one a little bit more when I talk about my skills. But this one is really amazing. And I have Whispers of Doom, so I can have 2 curses on the enemy. And I also have Holy Fire, which are a really good boost to your damage. And I have Sentry, so I can use more auras. You can see I'm right now using 3 auras at the same time. And I have Purity of Flesh. So that's pretty much my normal skill tree. So let's take a look at my Ascendancy skill tree. I chose to ascend to an Chieftain because I like the life regeneration. And the first one I took was Tukahawa Forest Strength. I can't pronounce this one. This one is really good. Then I took this one. I can't pronounce again, but it gave me some good damage against burning enemies. And I took this one. And when I ascended for the 4th time, I just took the life regeneration here, because this one gave me absolutely nothing, and this one pretty much gave me nothing as well. So I just again went for life regeneration instead. So that's pretty much my passive skill tree. If you have any questions about my passive skill tree, feel free to ask me in the comment. So let's take a look at my gear. So let's get started with my weapon. I'm using Dorian's Catalyst, which are not a sword. This is only a skin I'm using on it. It is a mace. And I'm using this one for the increased elemental damage. If you can get a rare weapon, which have increased elemental damage, increased fire damage, or increased damage over time, you could use that. But keep in mind, you cannot use increased spell damage, because increased spell damage do not apply to Righteous Fire. Moving on, I'm using this helmet here. And it looks like this because I have a skin on it, which you probably can understand. I have on my character right now. I'm using this one for the armor, life and resistance. I'm using Rise of the Phoenix, which also have a skin on it. And I'm using this one for the increase to maximum fire resist, which are really important. So this shield is a must-have, and it's really inexpensive, it's really easy to get. I'm using this amulet here. I'm mostly using it for the 1 to all maximum resistance, and that's what you're gonna go for. But if you can, try to get some life or maybe some resistance. I like this one because it gives me life and it gives me some dexterity and intelligence, which I actually need. I'm using this ring here, which are a really awesome ring, but it's really expensive as well. You don't have to have a ring like this. This ring is just fantastic. But on your rings, you just want life resistance and increased fire damage if you can. But this ring is really awesome. Same thing with this ring, life, a little bit of resistance, and if I could I would have some fire damage on it as well, but I couldn't afford it. And I have a Calm's Heart, a non-legacy one. The best possible armor you can have to a build like this would be to have the legacy Calm's Heart, but that armor is very, very, very expensive. But a legacy Calm's Heart is good enough, and it's not that expensive as it is right now, but maybe the price is going to change, so I can't say too much. For my gloves, I'm just using these good defensive gloves. It gave me some life and resistance, and some armor as well. I'm using this belt here, which gives me a good amount of resistance and life, and even some armor. And I'm using these boots here, which have some movement speed, resistance, and some life. For my flask, right now using Blood of the Karuri, which you don't have to have, but it's a really nice flask. I'm using a Bubbling Eternal Flask, which reduced amount recovered, but 50% of the life I will recover instantly. So a little bit of a panic flask, and you can use a panic flask if you want. And I'm using Witch Fire Brew, which increases my damage over time, which is really nice. It's not a must-have, but it's a really good flask. And I'm using a flask which takes away my if I have bleeding stacks on me, this one will take it away. And also have an instant recovery when on low life, so it's a panic flask. And I'm also using a Quicksilver flask. You can use a Ruby flask if you want even more survivability. So let's take a look at my gems. I can start with my damage setup, which are Righteous Fire. And Righteous Fire are linked to Elemental Focus, increased burning damage, and I'm either using increased AoE or I'm switching to a concentrated effect. Using concentrated effect against bosses, and I'm using increased AoE against everything else. I have two custom damage taken set up, which are custom damage taken linked to Ice Nova, and I have another custom damage taken linked to Immortal Call, Ball Lightning, and Greater Multiple Projectiles. The reason I have these spells here, Ball Lightning and Ice Nova, it is because of, as I said before, I'm gonna answer this now. It's because I'm using Elemental Equilibrium and I'm using Elemental Overload. When these skills crit, for example Ball Lightning crit or Ice Nova crit, they will proc Elemental Overload. And they're doing no fire damage whatsoever. Ball Lightning do no fire damage and Ice Nova do no fire damage. Which means they will activate Elemental Equilibrium and the enemy will lose 50% of their resistance. Because of using Righteous Fire, and Righteous Fire doesn't hit anything, that means that Righteous Fire can't proc Elemental Equilibrium. Which means I can burn enemy how much I want with Righteous Fire. So let's continue. I'm also using Orb of Storms together with increased critical strike chance. That is a more active skill. I just setting up to speed things up. Instead of waiting to take damage, I can just activate this one. And the reason I have it together with the increased critical strike chance, it is so I can crit more often and proc my Elemental Overload. Other things I'm using Purity of Fire, pretty much a must-have. You need that extra maximum fire resist. I'm also using Blasphemy together with Elemental Weakness and Flammability. So using two curses, I curse them with Flammability and Elemental Weakness. So at the end we're going to have very low resistance against me, which are really important. And I'm just using Leaf Slam for some mobility if I needed to. And that's pretty much my skill gems. If you have any questions about my skill gems, feel free to ask me in the comments. And finally, for the bandits, I helped and killed. In normal, I helped Oak to get the life. In cruel, I just killed all of them and took the passive skill point. And in merciless, you have two options. You either help Oak to get an additional endurance charge, or you kill all of them and take the passive skill point. I thank you all for watching and tell me what you think about my build. And now I'm going to show this character in action.